Well, the Trump administration's investigation into foreign aid made headlines for exposing millions in questionable spending. A crucial revelation that some of those funds, billions, ended up in the hands of Hamas. CBN Middle East correspondent Julie Stahl has that story.
As a government agency, the United States Agency for International Development, or USAID, uses taxpayer dollars for civilian foreign aid and development assistance. Recent revelations, however, indicate it's been funding America's enemies and those pledged to destroy Israel.
Dozens of terror organizations have received indirect assistance from U.S. foreign aid.
During this congressional hearing on how USAID used its money, Greg Roman, executive director of the Middle East Forum, used Gaza as a case study.
$2.1 billion in American taxpayers' money to Gaza since October 7th when Hamas invaded southern Israel. USAID money was going in terms of an emergency use authorization to try to go to parties that USAID formerly had a relationship with in the Gaza Strip. They had to have been vetted by OFAC. They should have been vetted against the special designated terror list from the State Department and from other Treasury organizations.
The investigation, however, tells a different story.
Waivers were granted because they said that there was an emergency use to have that money come in to Gaza, thereby jettisoning the usual typical screening procedures. As a result, 90% of aid that was going from the United States by way of its agents in Gaza ended up in Hamas-controlled areas. And this is ridiculous. Essentially, what the U.S. assistance to Gaza did was underwrite the ability for Hamas to survive until the ceasefire was just passed.
CBN News reached out to USAID for a response on the continuation of the funds after October 7th, but did not receive a reply. In his role with DOGE, Elon Musk began to make cuts to the agency almost immediately, although the terror funding has been cited before. Senator Ted Cruz told ABC News that he brought up the funding of Hamas long before Trump's reelection.
The previous administration, I held up the confirmation of the Middle East director for USAID because USAID was sending millions of dollars into Gaza that was going directly to Hamas and being used to fund terrorism, and they were hiding it. They were trying to keep it in darkness.
Avi Abelo of the Pulse of Israel tells CBN News not only did USAID fund Hamas before October 7th, it kept flowing afterwards.
USAID continued to give money to Hamas after the October 7th massacre, mass raping, mutilation, kidnapping of Israelis. And not only that, they also continue to give money to the Palestinian Authority.
Abelo sees no difference between Hamas and the Palestinian Authority.
They have the same goal to destroy Israel, just different strategies. Because the Palestinian Authority uses its money not just to pay its own terrorists. They use $97 million to pay Hamas terrorists who did the horrific massacre of October 7th.
He adds that means American taxpayer dollars have unknowingly supported a terrorist regime.
This has tremendous implications of understanding that, one, USAID was used in a horrific fashion, where American taxpayer money is literally funding terror. And Israelis and Americans have to understand they were not a friend of Israel. They pretended to be a friend of Israel, but they were literally working against us with their money.
According to reports, USAID gave $310 million to Sanad Construction Resources Company for a Palestinian cement factory project in 2016. And while some was likely used for homes and other infrastructure, Abelo and others believe it could also have been used to fortify Hamas operations.
Now, anyone who knows the situation in Gaza, Hamas built around 500 kilometers of terror tunnels under the ground that were used to attack us, that were used for them to be able to run under the ground and escape our soldiers running in, used to hide our hostages and scutter them away in different places so that our soldiers wouldn't be able to find them. What do you think that cement factory was used for?
Abelo believes that every U.S. administration wanted to keep its allies under its control.
They wanted Israel to be small. They wanted to institute a two-state solution that, in a sense, endangers Israel. And that was the ultimate policy behind the USAID aid. They want Hamas to be in power. They want the Palestinians to be in power. They want Israel to be in danger, and then always reliant on Big Brother America to come save it, but only if we listen to them.
He says it's a good thing that President Trump is now changing that approach.
We need Israel to be strong. It's in American foreign policy's interest that Israel be strong. It's not good for America that these terrorists are in Gaza, that these Islamo-Nazis are in Judea and Samaria. He understands not only for Israel, but for the benefit of America, we have to finally end this.
Julie Stahl, CBN News, Jerusalem.
It's actually staggering to me that over $2 billion in U.S. taxpayer funds went into Gaza after October 7th and obviously ended up in the hands of Hamas. It's also staggering that we would fund the cement factory that would then be used for the construction of all those tunnels. When you look how aid was diverted, so there's a famous video of pipes from Europe, all designed to carry fresh water and provide fresh water for the citizens of Gaza. All of that being diverted and cut into sections to be used as rocket launchers. When will we wake up to the very real fact that Hamas wants to wipe Israel off the map, and as such should never be funded by taxpayer money? When are we going to wake up to the fact that our taxpayer money has been going into the martyr payments, the payments by the Palestinian Authority, that if Palestinians are arrested for terror activity in Israel, they are paid based on the severity of the attack, and how many Jews are killed is essentially what it is. It's a, let's pay to slay. And we're funding that. Abbas makes these pronouncements in English that, okay, it's not coming from U.S. money, it's coming from this part of the budget. But if you have one budget funded from a bunch of different sources, you can't separate that out. And in Arabic, he says quite clearly, these payments are never going to end. So why are we doing this? It clearly makes no sense. And it seems to be regardless of administration. I do really thank Trump for saying no to this nonsense. He in his last administration, he moved the embassy to Jerusalem, recognized Jerusalem as the capital. The State Department resisted that, and we have to build a new building and it's going to cost billions of dollars and we don't have that kind of money, all that kind of thing. And to his incredible credit, the U.S. ambassador, he figured all that. David Friedman figured it all out and said, well, no, we'll just take over the consulate that has been negotiating with the Palestinian Authority all these years, and that's already in Jerusalem, and we'll just move the embassy there. Let's stop the nonsense. Let's recognize the roots of all of this. It's anti-Israel ideology that goes core deep and is generational. They want to wipe Israel off the map. If they want to do that, that's fine, but please do not use my tax dollars to do it.
Are miracles real? Let's investigate.
A lot of skeptics will say, well, miracles are impossible. Why? Because they violate the laws of nature. You can't violate the laws of nature.
I looked at my hand that was clutched. I said, hand move.
We got the 2125.
He's dead. It's over. I said, shock him one more time.